think a lot of times when we start a hobby or we're in a hobby and we want to learn more, we can get, and at least I'm talking about myself, we can get in a rabbit hole of needing to be perfect, having to do things the perfect way. And
Hmm.
so it's all about just keeping things light, casual, real. And I love
Oh,
that.
100%. Yeah. You have to know
Yeah.
that there's more than one way to do something. And
Hmm.
just because somebody else does it a certain way, that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So,
No, and I'm blown away by how many people have followed us and supported us. Like you said to me the first day that we released the podcast, I don't even think my feet felt like they were on the ground the entire day.
oh, 100%. I was like sky high all day. And I
Yeah,
don't know if
like
that was just because it was like out there or if I was like nervous because it was like we did it, at that point it was released. Um I'm sure it might have been a little bit of all of that, but
yeah,
yeah, I'm excited for the next venture. So,
me too. Me too. We're gonna get into episode 2.
woo woo.
Woo! Well, I want to tell everyone that last episode we just talked and we didn't I don't think I planned anything to talk about. We just like naturally went into a conversation and it was so much fun and we're going to try to have that same energy today. We do have some points from the Instagram account. We asked you all to let us know if you have any questions related to importing and things like that. And so we want to make sure that we answer as many of those as we can. But we are going to have this be the same kind of relaxed, off the cuff, like we say, um, chat where we want to make sure you all know we are not experts on the topics here. We're here to spread the love. From my perspective here, a lifelong appreciator, aficionado. I don't know if you want to say that. That seems weird. I'm an appreciator of Hoyas. I'm an aficionado. But I also just want to start a movement here. I feel like we're starting something really cool. We're building off of the shoulders of giants who've come before us for sure. I mean, there's people who, the Swedish Hoya Society, there's different organizations around the country, around the world, but we haven't really developed a solid US Hoya Society or somewhere that we can go for like ideas and for information. That's one thing that we're trying to develop more of. So, kind of going into that to start. Yeah.
I mean, I think if there is a secret Hoya society out there, don't be secret. Like we want you.
Yes. We want
Like
you. Let's
make yourself
support.
known. We'd love to hang out, chat, learn the stuff.
Learn the stuff and like for instance about importing. I think there's a lot of stuff about a lot of questions about importing because there's not the knowledge out there. Maybe it's because Hoyas are a newer collector item, um, but
Compared to other
also,
species. Yeah.
yeah, that's when I was doing my research for this because I did do some research, but I'm gonna make it clear I am not an expert with importing. This is purely our experiences and other experiences from people. We're also just gonna bring awareness to certain topics in importing, which I think
Mhm.
is more important than having answers, honestly. Just having that awareness spread so that people know and they can make informed decisions instead of just assuming that it's the way it is, right?
Oh, firsthand experience, I feel like almost always moves in front of what they say to do. If you have firsthand experience in doing it and it works for you, then that's what you should be doing. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to, if you're wanting to try something else because somebody else has mentioned it, then yeah, by all means, that's your choice. But you don't have to do it. It's not like you're being forced into it. And the first time is always like, what do I do? So
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think one of the most overlooked things in the Hoya community is what happens with the plant to the plant before it even reaches your hands as the consumer. So we're going to talk about that. I'm interested if any of you have had experiences with imports, either positive or negative, that you'd like to share with us. We're not going to be blasting things here. We're not going to be blacklisting
yeah,
places
we don't need to
unless,
be naming names
I
or
mean,
anything. I mean,
no,
you're
no.
welcome to mention them to us, but we're not going to
Yeah.
relay that information. That's not our MO.
No, but if you've had a bad experience, I think it's sometimes it's good to just share, what went wrong. And I'm going to share one bad experience that I've had where I'm not going to name the nursery or anything like that, but yeah, we'll go into that a little bit and then talk about the acclimation process. And you're doing a fun dance right now. I want to join.
No, that I just got a shiver down my spine. It's fine. The wine shiver because it was the last of the glass. Woo!
It was the spirit of my great great grandmother who started this. I love it so much. Well, okay, we're just kind of talking. Is there something that you want to start with?
I mean, we haven't done introductions, so I feel like that's something necessary for new listeners. So, if you did not tune into the first episode, I am Michael. On Instagram, I'm Grandma's Planties, and I grow about 400 ish different Hoya varieties. And it all started from a plant that my grandmother had when I was growing up. So that's where the love began. And now it's blossomed into this. Found the rabbit hole. Rabbit hole.
I like it. Robotoll.
Rabbit hole.
Horrible accent impression.
Sounds like a drug. I need some Robital. Uh, um, and that was, you know, an experience. So many more Hoyas out there than I ever even knew at that point. And I've been collecting for approximately 10 years.
That's
So,
wild.
yeah.
And you're a dedicated collector and you know so much. So I'm honored to be here with you. And so, welcome everyone to the Hoya Underground Podcast, episode 2. If you haven't listened to our first episode, you can go back and listen in to get a little bit more information about us and just individually where we came from in our journey of loving Hoyas, which we say Hoyas. Some people say Hoya. I also wanted to say thank you, everyone, for not saying that we should say it a certain way. I don't know why I was so paranoid about that or self-conscious about saying Hoyas because I say Hoyas. Maybe we should put a poll up of how many people say Hoya versus Hoyas when they're talking about it in the plural. I don't know. But
I've never even noticed if I.
isn't that funny? The things that you realize, it's like, oh yeah, that's the way that I say it. But I am Emily and I am in Nebraska, the center of the United States, one of the worst states to grow Hoyas outside. I grow them
Center of
inside
the
my
world.
house. The center of the world, not so much. No, I'm not.
No, my world, not that world.
Oh, the center of your world. Oh, all right. We're getting mushy.
Carry on. Keep it clean.
Keep it clean. Man, my friends are like, "What do you mean by mushy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I have to clarify. It basically means like a big teddy bear hug. That's what mushy is for me." Okay, so
100%.
moving.
There we go.
Yeah, thank you. That's the term that we're coining right now. Last time it was ponophile. We did have some questions about that. Actually, we didn't, but I'm pretending that we did to sound official. And so P-O-N, is the substrate that is semi-hydro, meaning it's basically like half water, half rocks, made up of various types of minerals. And to say that you're a file of something, to look at like the naming of words, I believe that's just like, you add "phile" to something, it means you love something. So I said "ponophile." So that's my term that I coined that last time. So I just want to make that clear. You're welcome to use it and tag us. That'd be amazing. But I'm just going off here. So yeah, I grow over 1,000 Hoyas in my house and also in my mom's house because we don't have a warehouse or a greenhouse. We've been just keeping our collections pretty much to ourselves, and then the last year we started to sell, and by we I mean basically me, under the brand name The Rooted Vine, and I sell in a couple of platforms. So the information is in the show notes. And thank you to everyone who supports us. It's really amazing. But yeah, I got started into Hoyas based on a Carnosa from my great great grandmother, and that one is we're we have been able to identify it as 100 years old, potentially older than that, but
Wow.
really, really cool. Really cool. And if anybody here I feel like this is a really common story that people will share. Like my grandmother had an heirloom Carnosa, or I knew someone with an heirloom Carnosa. If you had a different Hoya that was your gateway Hoya, I would love to hear. I would absolutely love to hear. I've heard a couple of people tell me different ones, but so
Yeah, that
when we,
that would be
yeah,
fascinating.
wouldn't it be? Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
and she actually so talking about importing, I believe she imported it back in, like, the 1910s or 1920s because they had catalogs back then. So, technically, it was a form of importing, she didn't just go to a store and pick it up, and I would love to be able to reverse time, go back, and to see what she did in order to acclimate that into her house in the middle of winter in Nebraska. It's just crazy.
That's
So
wild.
it's so wild to think how different things are now.
Yeah, that's not even a process I would have thought about them even having at that time period.
Yeah. No, they didn't have grow lights,
Yeah.
humidifiers. No. So, um, okay, imports. Imports. What does it mean to import a plant?
Importing is essentially traveling from one country to another. Um, like coming from the Philippines to the United States, or Thailand to the United States, or
Hmm.
Thailand to the Philippines, something along those lines. Leaving one country and coming into another. And I guess the term import doesn't necessarily have to be worldwide. It can definitely be like a domestic import as well. So I could say I could purchase something from you, and then bringing that in, I would treat it no differently than anything that I would be buying from outside the country, um, quarantining it for a certain period of time, spraying it down when it arrives, inspecting it, making sure if it's coming from inside the states that the roots are good. If not, kind of chop and prop at that point. Um, Outside of the country, it's generally kind of feast or famine. I guess, I mean, more or less with how the plant arrives. Um, there could be roots. More than likely, there's not roots. Um, so you're basically having to root these plants that come. And
Hmm.
it's not really anything spectacular. Like the process can be kind of overwhelming.
Oh
uh,
my gosh. Importing to me is whenever I will buy a plant that is from a place other than my own house. And that may seem radical to some people. They may be like, oh, it has to be from another country. But really, I don't know if the person that I purchased the plant from, unless I know them really well, like the amazing, fantastic Callie Blair, who I have to mention again. I know like she will grow her own plants. She will take care of them for ages. They are hers. They don't come from another country. Um, you know, I know that this is her pattern of growth, right? That this is what she does, all right? And it's great to have these connections. So, sidebar, making connections is huge to know your people you buy the plants from. That's number one for me. Number one. I'm put it out there right away. But if I'm getting a plant from somewhere else, that's an import for me. Now, a big import, the import with a capital I, if you will, that's to get it from another country. And I have done this twice through a nursery in Thailand. I have had some experiences over in Europe and done two purchases, big ones, through nurseries in Thailand. And it was because I had a couple of friends who recommended this nursery to me so I could have this reference list. Um, and you said that you've imported one time, Michael?
Yes. Where was that from? Czech Republic?
Oh,
Well, I guess maybe twice because I did get my original Polish spot from somebody in Poland.
oh, that is
So,
so cool.
yes. So I ordered that off Etsy, or not Etsy, eBay. And the other one was from Hoya Passion. And I want to say she's in Czech Republic, Adita.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've not had a bad experience anytime that I've ordered anything in that regard. Like it's always been cuttings. So they
Mm,
generally just come wrapped up and I have to root them anyways. So it's not really any different as far as what I would do care wise if I bought a cutting from you or if I bought a cutting from, Callie or April, or
mm-hmm.
I would still treat the process the same.
And we're going to get into that. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about that acclimation and pest management process. When I
Hmm.
have ordered my plants from the nursery in Thailand, it's a great nursery. It's very well known. I'm just leaving the name out of this right now just because I want to keep it a neutral conversation. Not that there is any bad experience with them necessarily. The bad experience I had was through a one off Etsy experience that I had. So, you know, you never really know too what you're gonna get when you have an import in a different country. It's gonna look really different in the video or the photo. Most of the time, I'm gonna make a broad statement here. Most of the time, it's gonna look a lot different because it's in its natural habitat there. It's thriving in the jungles of wherever you are. I mean, if you're getting it from a nursery that's grown it and it's been in that environment, it's going to look really good. You pack it up, you move it to a very uh, arid climate, Nebraska, it's not going to look as good. It's not going to be happy. So I actually imported last week. I got my order. They were nice enough to save the plants for me through the winter. So I just kind of added to my box and I got this massive box mailed to me right
Oh,
after I
wow.
had, oh my gosh, last week I had acquired two large collections from amazing grower friends who were downsizing. And then I got this import order. So
Dang.
it was a week.
That sounds overwhelming.
It was a week. And I was like, why not release the podcast? So it was an amazing week. But I did go through, I talked to a couple amazing friends. We have a friend, Sunshine Nursery, Renee Crawford, who we met at IAS, International
Hmm.
Area Society in Florida. And she was really helpful talking with me about her method for getting the plants out of the box and making sure that they're as pest free as possible and then getting them acclimated. So I'll go through what I did. Um, I just don't want this to be just me talking though. So I want to make sure, like, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask, Michael.
I mean, you've done more importing than I have. So to your scale, you've got a little more experience in that market. So I think it's okay.
Okay. Well, interject as needed.
I'll pipe
Interject
in
as
when
needed.
needed.
Okay. Well, maybe so funny. We can do a little story time here. So imagine that you have the opportunity to buy plants from a nursery in a different country, and they are so much cheaper than buying them locally. So, for instance, we're going to think about a latifolia silver. Maybe you're going to buy a 2 leaf cutting for $70 locally. And then you look and you see that internationally, you can get a whole plant for that cost. Well, that's going to be appealing. And so you're going to want to get more bang for your buck. However, one thing that people don't necessarily realize is that not all the plant is going to make it. There's going to be some yellowing of leaves, there's going to be potentially some um, leaves broken, and then fungal infections and things like that that may happen to it. Also, pretty high shipping costs as well. So, just to keep that in mind whenever you're looking at an import, getting something from an international standpoint. But what I like to do is I will get a lot of plants and then I'll make sure that the shipping is worth it, right? So I'm not just going to get 2 plants and then spend $150 or whatever on top of other charges. That's
Hmm.
not going to be worth it for me, right? So that's why I had them hold the plants for me, which was very generous. And then when I got them, I opened the box. I always recommend you take a video of an unboxing showing the label of the box. It's just good standard practice because all ethical nurseries are going to help you out. If something doesn't arrive looking great, you're going to want to have that video to really help you out. So that's my one advice for everyone. You know, if you feel like you're so excited you want to open it right away, just take a moment and be like Emily said, take a video. You're gonna thank me later, because that's gonna help you. Especially there may be some tape on it where if the tape is already broken, then you can't go back and, unfortunately, because there are some people who take advantage, which is really sad. Like people who do that, stop. Just don't. Um, so yeah, you open the box and you look inside, kind of check over the plants, and then there's a couple different kind of schools of thought. One is that you soak them to kind of rehydrate them. The other one is where you will take them and just rinse them off, maybe like spray some miticide or pesticide. That, of course, can kind of be after the soaking as well. So, one is kind of soaking, one is a shower method, but essentially, you want to get the leaves clean, right? So you want to use my favorite method for pest control is water. Good old-fashioned water, giving everything a nice soak, a nice shower, and then going in with I use Pure Crop 1. I sprayed all of my imports with that because I do organic-ish as much as possible using beneficial insects, more for health reasons than anything else. And then after that, I waited for the plants to dry a little bit. I did chop off the roots because they weren't viable. So, Michael, how do you know if a root is viable? I'm putting you on the spot here.
You know, it's one of those things that you can just look at and be like, those are not good. Um, if they're stringy
Yeah.
and dry, more or less, or if something's like too wet somehow in shipping, then they might be mushy.
Mm,
Um, but you would generally have a pretty good consensus just looking at them. Like if it looks like you rubbed a balloon on your head and you've got like roots everywhere and just kind of stringy, probably not the best.
yeah, probably not the best. When you look at the plants that you purchase, and I'd love to hear, Michael, like what you do. When I will get a long vine, so I'll take the roots and I'll chop them off because most of the time, the reason that they're not looking so good is because the nursery will treat them with something to make sure that it passes the like inspection at the border. because there
Mhm.
are various insects, nematodes, things that you don't want to get into, an invasive situation where, you may have something come over from a plant and you can't tell. So they'll usually soak it in some kind of really toxic chemical, which they'll be wrapped in maybe like a moss or something. I just like to chop them off. That's me in my little experience. Bigger nurseries, bigger experienced people, they may say, no, I have an amazing method. We would love to hear it. I think when I chop them off, then I look at the rest of the plant, and every 1 to 2 nodes, I will go with sterilized snips or shears, and I will cut and do like, smaller cuttings. So I'm not going to try to root the entire vine because to me, that's not a very good recipe. It's already a little bit stressed out. So I'm going to try to minimize that stress by having it only root a certain amount of the plant at once, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Oh, for sure.
Michael, what would you say is a good, you know, general rule of thumb for selling after you import something in your experience? What would you say?
I mean, I would think probably a minimum of at least 3 months, 90 days. Um, and I think it really depends on the time of year that you're importing as well, because things might grow a lot faster during the summer than they will in the winter. Um, but I think a good rule would be if you're noticing growth after a certain point, like if they're growing at the 90-day mark, then you're probably okay. If it's cuttable at that point, you could cut it and prop it. Um, I don't know that I would sell the exact plant that was imported, but I would probably take cuttings of it and sell said cuttings, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I would rather know that the stuff that's grown under my care is good versus the stuff that had to be acclimated under my care may or may not be at that point.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. So people who purchase plants online domestically, importing domestically, one thing that I've been talking with a lot of my fellow Hoya aficionados, I'm using that term now, is a thing, is that if you see a unicorn plant, one that's been released like relatively recently, something that is harder to find, it's what we call unicorn, and it is in a sphagnum moss as like its main substrate, and it's sold as like the I hate this term. Okay, but it's called butt cut, right? The butt cut is in sphagnum moss.
Oh, good old butt cut.
Good
Yeah.
old, you gotta love a butt cut. I mean, I don't, but it's like more than likely going to be a relatively fresh import, which is
Yeah.
interesting. So
Which is
that's kind of
part of
a
the
thing.
reason why I would rather buy a cutting
Hmm.
versus the rooted. I call it the bottom cut.
Oh, so much more refined than me. My goodness, here I am with my butt.
But yeah, I mean, that's probably something I would keep for myself to continue growing out.
Hmm.
Uh, and then possibly if it's a plant I plan on selling versus keeping for myself, I might take a cutting to then start a second mother plant um, that just might have better quality to it, I guess.
Hmm.
Because a lot of
Yeah.
those imported leaves, like they look nothing like the leaves that come out once it's growing in your care. Like it's night
Isn't
and
that
day.
wild?
Yeah, 1000%.
Do you have a plant that you'd like to mention that you've imported that happened to?
Trying to think of which ones. Nothing that I've like imported from outside the country, but one that I got from Cali. It is Hoya Beth. which is a Leoensis unknown seedling. And the leaf that it's put out in my care is nothing like the leaves that it's put out in her care. And I mean, I think it looks cool, but it also drives me batty at the same time because I'm
I
like,
can
it doesn't
imagine.
even look like the same plant.
Like, "Who are you? Imposter."
Right? Like it's long, skinny, and dark, and the other ones are like they've got this really beautiful dark margin, veiny green, and you can see the veins and they're wider, kind of obovada-y roundness, but
Mhm.
wavy. And then the first leaf it's put out is just like long and skinny. I'm like, girl,
Nyeh.
what are you doing?
That
But
was
to
my
be
sound effect
fair,
for the leaf.
my growing conditions are completely different than what it was growing in prior. So
Mhm.
now it's in more of a even keel kind of growing situation than it was when I first had it. So we'll see what happens now.
Yeah. And do you keep your plants in the same place or do you move them around?
I mean, for the most part, they stay in the same place. If they get too big for a certain spot, then I'll do some rearranging. But I try to generally have like the larger plants on the shelves that have more spacing. The smaller plants obviously have less spacing between the shelves,
Mhm.
but I don't really trellis them until they get to a certain point because then I feel like that would require me to have all the shelves be the same kind of spacing wise, and
Yeah.
that just takes away space. So
Hey, this is about being practical.
100%. Yep.
Like one time I bought trellises that were 18 inches tall because I'm like, oh, these are going to be amazing and I'm going to grow plants so tall. And I didn't even think about my space. So I have a lot of these 18-inch tall trellises and I'm just like mad at them. So I was able to get some trellises that we may or may not disclose the I didn't even intend for this to be a little sneak preview here, but
Well, that's
um
funny.
it's really funny. It's really, really funny. So we're gonna we'll talk about our sourcing for that later. Um, that's hilarious. So, and there are schools of thought about that too, like trellis right away versus, let it grow wild and free. And so if you want to do something just because you want to do it, who is gonna stop you? Do you? Like honestly,
Yeah, 100%. Because if I
100%.
let something grow wild prior to trellising it, and then I trellis it, I I don't necessarily hate it, because hate is a strong word, but I'm always really irritated once I trellis it at that point because it does not look nice. Like,
Mm,
it just doesn't. It
yeah,
takes a while to then settle on the trellis, and then under the lights, it'll start to face the way you want it. But that initial trellising, if you don't do it from the get-go, it's a train wreck. It re
total train wreck.
it really is. So,
Do you do you do you do sound effects when you're trellising? Please tell me you do, because I do.
I mean, I don't know if I do sound effects,
You're missing
but
out.
I kind of talk dirty to the plants. I'm like, "You little
Uh-huh.
get
Yeah.
it together." Like,
Get it together.
you know, I'm like, "This is a two-person project, you know?
Exactly.
Not enough hands, and you're not working the right way."
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, seriously. I mean, and then the vines will just do their thing. They'll just, like, whip right out at you, like, if you don't
Oh, yeah.
automatically grab a clip, you're just like, "What
Oh,
the
mhm.
heck?"
I mean,
So mad at
sometimes
it.
if it's a fresh enough vine, it just slides right out of the clip, and then you gotta redo it again. I'm like,
You got
"Are you for real? This is
oh
not
my
what I signed
gosh.
up for today."
No, it's not. Well, I'm gonna, talk about pest management.
Oh,
Because,
perfect.
it's funny, I was thinking about how that annoyed me, and I'm like, "Okay, what annoys me even more are pests." and we can't get around it. It's going to happen. So, the biggest advice that I would give, and then I'll ask the biggest advice that you would give, um, is that you want to quarantine your plants. You want to have a dedicated place for when you get new plants into your collection. I say a minimum of 6 weeks. I
Oh,
will probably go more than that because I do
okay.
sell quite a few and I don't want to risk potentially introducing root mealies or something else. I'm knocking on wood as I say these things right now. Don't I'm like, don't summon the root mealies. So I will quarantine, and what I have in my house, because I grow in my house, it's a very unique setup. I'm very proud of it. I've made it work. I will get wire shelves, and then I have measured the shelves to find the right size tubs. I've put the tubs in there. I have my lighting set up and everything, and those are my quarantine tubs. So everything goes in there. And it also keeps me from getting too many things at once. However, rewind to last week when I like acquired a ton of plants. So now I have actually gone completely off the deep end. I've purchased a Millsbo tall cabinet because I'm like, well, clearly I need to have a dedicated cabinet for all these plants. So it's its own quarantine cabinet.
Hey, and
Now,
you gotta have space when you need space. So
yeah, and it's from a very special person. So, yeah, that's a cool thing you can do too. Is if you're going to have a lot of plants, maybe somebody in your neighborhood is downsizing and you want to get a lot of their collection, maybe look at Facebook Marketplace or somewhere for a cabinet that you can get and have it be a little bougier than a Rubbermaid tub if that's what you would prefer. So, whatever sparks joy in your life, that can be really helpful too. I really love quarantining though. It has saved me so many times. I cannot tell you enough how many times it has saved me. So, I quarantine, I will observe the plant, the leaf. I'll make sure like there's not leaf drop, leaf yellowing, or the stems. If I notice that it's rotting at a certain point, I can tell if it's rotting because of the substrate or if there's maybe something viral potentially going on. And I've also, so we have an extension office in Nebraska where it's through the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. They're phenomenal. You can send them actual samples of your plants to test for different infections, and I've done that before. It's been really, really helpful. Do you have something like that there?
if we do, I've never heard about it, but I'm also in like the middle of nowhere. So um
Right.
I mean the University of Washington is probably the closest like school that would do something in that
Uh-huh.
regard. And that's a few, I don't know, 3 hours away.
Wow. Yeah.
Um, that might be something I'd look into because that's not something I really thought about. So thank you for
Yeah.
bringing that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a really cool offering. In the United States, a lot of our states will offer this. So I highly recommend looking into any extension office that you can. Anybody horticulture, they may not be knowledgeable about the Hoya genus, but they can definitely help you with identifying infections or potential pest issues. So just to kind of go back to like the number one thing for pest management, for me, quarantining, isolating, the opposite of this would be taking a plant that you recently purchased and just shoving it into the middle of your collection. And
Made that
that
mistake once or twice.
I've done it too. I'm going to tell you, I'm not perfect. I've done that before, and oh my gosh. I mentioned the thrips issue last time. It was because of that. So, no. What is yours? Not the thrips, but what
So
is number one?
uh, my thing, anything that comes into my house is like my bathroom is kind of my quarantine stage area. So I'll spray everything down, set it in the bathtub, the shower, so it kind of dries overnight and it's not dripping on the floor and yada yada yada. But then it just kind of sits on the bathroom floor and I spray it my stuff either with Pure Crop One, Captain Jack's, or an isopropyl alcohol. And every do I do 2 days or 3 days? I think I do every 2 days. Um, I'm like I haven't really brought anything in recently to think about my process as of late, but about every 2 days, I will rotate what I spray it with. So if there is something there, pest wise, it's not building up that tolerance to me using the same product each time I'm spraying it.
Got it.
Uh, so, like every 2 days, first day, say I spray it with alcohol. Then the next spray session, 2 days later, I would do Pure Crop, or 2 days following that, Captain Jack's. And then I just kind of repeat that cycle. And I do that for 2 weeks. Like minimum of 2 weeks is how long everything stays in the bathroom before I start to integrate it outside of the bathroom. Um, but then I generally have a shelf that the stuff goes on of its own in my grow space. So it's not at that point intermingling with all the other plants that are in there.
Mhm.
It's going to be in the room, in the environment, but it's still on its kind of own isolation area at that point. Um, just to further monitor. But since I started actually following through and doing quarantining and all that jazz, I haven't noticed nearly as many issues as I had prior.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
the one thing I still can't seem to kick is scale. And I find it here and there. And I'm like, where the did you come from?
Oh, that's so tricky because you can't there's no, like I mean, it's so hard, you can't just find, like, a beneficial insect to eat that hard lining
Mm-mm,
of the scale, you have to
mm-mm.
catch it, like, super early.
Yeah, super early. And I'm
Oh,
like,
man.
it's not like it grows fast. Like, so at one point, I must have brought a plant in prior to learning about quarantining that, you know, ran through my whole collection.
Or, I mean, I'm gonna take a moment here and say, sometimes we have nicer days outside, we open our windows, we can have little pesties come in through the windows.
I'm just like, no. And it's so overwhelming when it happens. Like,
Yeah.
and it's always at that time in life when you're like, I can't add anything else to my plate. And then it happens. So
Mhm.
just
Yes.
I can't do this right now.
My theory is if you prepare for the worst, then you're gonna be pleasantly surprised. Maybe that's
Oh,
not
for sure.
optimistic.
Oh, I've got a new bloom coming.
Oh, hold on, bloom alert, bloom pause.
Oh, what's blooming right now? I don't think I've got anything. I think just Obscura right now. But
Okay.
my Lei Chow is getting ready to bloom.
Ooh, fancy.
She's never bloomed.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So I just looked
So,
over and I'm like, oh, gotta pin that so I can see it so I don't miss it. Because
that
she's
was so
just
cute.
hanging off the shelf.
Your head, like, whipped around so fast. I'm like, "What's going on?"
I was like, oh, what is that?
I know.
And then I was
Oh,
like,
man.
I didn't get out of the chair either. I like leaned as far as I could and held onto the shelves to
That was
pull
impressive.
it towards me. I'm surprised I didn't fall. I was expecting it.
You got some awesome moves. I mean,
And
from taking
be
care of
graceful all
plants,
the
you have
time.
to be. Channel the energy of the Hoya. They will just find a way to make things happen no matter what. If they're determined, they're gonna wrap their tendrils in, like, the walls of your house if they're able to. It's crazy to
Mhm.
me. I'll be looking at one of my plants, and then the next week it's like, growing in between the cabinet and the glass shelf, and I'm like, "Well, you've just determined that you're going to be propagated because I can't possibly untangle everything." So,
You're
it's
not
like
getting out of there in one piece. To
going
try
back
to get
just how
something out.
resilient Hoyas are.
Yeah, you can a lot of them
Mhm.
take some good neglect,
So,
which I guess comes with importing too.
mhm, they can
Like,
put up with a lot of neglect.
so
Going
I'm
back
like,
to importing.
yeah, because coming from point A to point B, you don't know
Yeah.
what happens on that journey. Like, you've got no control over how long it's gonna be in said box or how it's packed in said box or if it's opened on the way to be inspected and everything's then just thrown back
Mm-mm.
in there, not packaged how it was when it initially
Yeah.
was set up and mailed out. Yeah, there's just some things out of your control. So, shh, shh. I
Did I
know.
hear music?
No, it's the cat.
That was so bizarre. I could have sworn that was, like, a soundtrack starting. That was the cat?
Yep, she's sitting outside the door.
Oh my gosh.
She's,
Oh,
she's
man, that's
yowling.
crazy.
I'm
Oh, I
like,
love it.
simmer down.
Calm down, girl.
She
Oh,
thinks she
man.
needs food, and I assure her she does not.
Oh, okay,
She
any of you
is.
out there with pets, one of my favorite things about Hoya plants is that they are non-toxic to our furry friends, and so
Oh,
it's really
good point.
nice. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I wanna talk about the topic that isn't so fun to mention, but we need to talk about it, is the topic of plants and how they are sourced. So, there's a couple things that, again, I'm not an expert. This is from me looking at other people for advice. We have a couple listeners here who may be experts in this. Please reach out to us if you want to be a guest on our podcast in the future. We would love to have you because this is one of the most important topics to me, and honestly, I think to the world of Hoya plants, because we want to be ethical when we source our plants. So, okay, right away, when I say being ethical with sourcing Hoya plants, what comes to mind for you, Michael?
I would say buying directly from a nursery that's growing them themselves or buying it directly from somebody you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Same, yeah.
yeah. And I think you would know when it arrives. There's generally signs of if it was unethically sourced versus ethically sourced just by how it looks.
Yeah, and I think it's really obvious with other plants. There are some plants out there, if you go on YouTube and search poached plants, I'm going to use the word poached here for certain plants. There are many videos that will come up on like orchids, for instance. Unfortunately, people will go into, so for poaching, this is something that I think maybe we don't necessarily realize there's a distinction between poaching and over harvesting, because poaching is a legal term where if somebody goes into a, let's say, protected area, conservation area, and then they will grab the plant directly from the ground, take it from a protected area where it is illegal to remove it from that place, that is poaching. If somebody is going into a jungle or a collection of wasp nests or ant hills or what have you, trees in the forest where they see Hoya plants and they're like, oh my goodness, I see all these wonderful, I mean, I'm gonna say a word here that may be triggering. Okay, trigger warning, we will be mentioning aches. Okay? If you're comfortable, continue listening. So that can be a topic of, okay, one person discovers, let's say, 30 of these Hoya plants in a certain spot and takes almost all of them. That is over harvesting. And that's where we do not want to encourage this behavior. It's not necessarily illegal, but it's really sad because what happens when you do this is the ecosystem is massively disrupted. And if you take more than, so in my experience of foraging, so I have some experience in foraging locally for certain native plants. I have a passion in foraging. We have a 10% rule, which is you don't take more than 10% of whatever you see. So, for instance, if I find elderberries, I won't take more than 10% of the clusters. So that's one thing that I will do, and my team of Midwest foragers, they also have taught me this as well. So I don't know if that's necessarily true for countries that grow Hoyas naturally, but that's kind of a rule of thumb to just think about. If you were to go into a forest and see, oh man, 100 of these beautiful like Ache rhinos, and you're like, I'm gonna make so much money if I grab all of these rhinos. It's tempting, right? But we have to be thinking about the bigger picture. So, with that being said,
Mm.
that is one of my main passions.
I think that is vital because over harvesting anything in any regard takes a hit on the ecosystem regardless. So, I mean, it's just like when things are overfished or, deer are over hunted. Just it affects more than you realize in that moment. Like there's always a downhill effect regardless. And you can do it within reason, but you don't want to overdo it. I mean, it's just like with anything, I feel like. There's, I guess, a healthy way to do it, and then there's not a healthy way to do it. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we had a listener. I keep wanting to say viewer. Y'all are gonna know what I mean by episode 10. You're gonna be like, Emily just means listener.
oh, that's us.
Oh. our our listeners who are just amazing, and we love you all. Thank you so much for listening and supporting us and for answering the questions in our Instagram. Michael was the one to write the question about what you would like to know for episode 2, and we had several people reach out about poaching, over harvesting, and just bringing awareness to that topic. So I think the main thing people ask me is, okay, how do I know if something, I had a friend ask me this, how do I know if something is over harvested? And honestly, a lot of the time you do not know. You may not have an idea that you are buying something that has been over harvested. So
Mhm.
to know your resource, to know your source is huge. Like that's the number one. Another thing too is we're going to get into trigger topic 2. Well, I guess we didn't really talk about Aches. Okay, we'll circle back. Trigger topic 2: unicorns. Unicorns. Michael, love them, hate them, in between.
That's tough because everybody always wants the new it plant, but how many people want to pay the price of the new it plant?
Right.
And I'm like, there's not really anything that I can think of that I'd be like, yeah, I want to pay 4 digits for that. I mean, not to say that I haven't paid 4 digits for something, but it's
Right.
not a habit of the way I grow. Like the plant that I paid that amount for, I waited 4 years and it was still in the 4 digits. So at that point, I'm just like, I'm gonna do it because it was
Mhm.
still a lot lower than what it was. Because it was in
Are
like the
you
4 or 5K range at that point. And then by the time I'm just like, you know what? This is the one that really speaks to me. I'm just gonna bite the bullet. It was just over 1,000. So
Yeah.
I feel like I won.
And that right there, you waited. You weren't like the first one on it. There are some people who they make their essentially they make their living off of this. So we're
Mhm.
not throwing any shade on it. It's just more that the unicorn industry, if you will, can be a source where people will find a mutated plant in the wild with, like, let's say a sport mutation, some variegation that's come out of nowhere, and they find it and they grab it, and that's the only one that has done that. Then they will release it, and it's four figures or five figures. That can be a way to know if something potentially is over harvested versus someone who has grown a plant from seed locally or we'll say domestically, knowing the person who maybe cross pollinated themselves or it was open pollinated and
Mhm.
there happened to be a mutation. Like we have a friend, um, shout out to a friend, Angel, who just released a seedling with amazing, amazing foliage, just absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, so
So,
pretty.
oh my
So
gosh, so beautiful. Yeah, friend shout out, friend shout out. And it's just so cool to see when people grow for years and years and then you're rewarded with one of those. It's like you're winning the lottery. It's so much fun to see. I love it. I love it so much.
yeah, I don't
So,
think I've ever been that lucky.
hey, never say never.
I'm like,
Never
I
say never.
had one seedling that was going like solid silver, and now it looks like it might have dried up.
Oh no.
So, like now that I'm looking at it,
And I realized I said never say never because I'm also thinking about the future, but you're talking about the past, so I like was trying to like gaslight you.
nothing yet. I mean, I've still got seeds in my fridge from last season that I haven't potted yet.
Oh, there it is. That's it. See, I knew it.
So it could be some of those.
And that's a really cool way to get into the world of creating plants that are new and getting that dopamine hit without potentially over harvesting or paying those figures for a plant. Seedlings are so much fun. And if you don't know where to get seeds, um, you can reach out to us. You can also go to, there's a Facebook US Hoya Market, and there are a couple really good growers. Do you want to name a couple, Michael?
There is ah, Stewart, Daddy Stewart. He is MV, mainly Vandas. There is Rowena, who is Tampa
Tampa
Tita.
Plant Tita.
Yep, there we go. So she's RTD.
Shout out
Rick,
Tampa Plant Tita.
Rick doesn't necessarily sell in USHM, but he has his own page, and he's
He
the
has his own page.
RHM. Let's see. Renee sells seeds. Renee Crawford. There is Hoya Plants. Ed sells seeds.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who sell seeds, but I think
I
the
mean,
only
I
one,
think Rhiannon sells seeds.
Rhiannon, of
Nest Tropicals.
Nest Tropicals, yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I'm pretty
I feel like
solid.
most that I see, Rick is probably the big one that I see all the time
Yeah, I was
when
just about
people
to
are
say
showing their seedlings off.
I'm team Rick. I really like his seedlings a lot. Yeah. So, shout out to Rick. Thank you so much for your seeds. Thank you so much for sharing them. They're amazing. And I feel like we could do a whole episode on seedlings. So I'm going to stop myself because I started to get into a rant on how I grow my seedlings. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. We're doing imports.
I
I get
mean,
so excited.
it's good though. Writing it
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. So is there something else that we haven't answered from our Instagram questions?
I think we've hit on everything that people inquired about.
Okay. Well, when you realize you have free will and you can throw away a plant that doesn't cause you joy, you've seen this like Instagram reel topic. Have you seen this? It's like going
I think
around.
so, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's really cute, but I did that with a Linearis that I imported from a country in Europe, and it arrived, like, not at all the picture did not match the product, and it was just
Oh, that's
really
terrible.
disappointing. It was so disappointing, and Linearis is one of those plants that the value that you're gonna pay for what you get, okay? So if you see one online and it's $100 and it's, like, full trailing, maybe just think of it as a bit of a rehab project. Just kind of, I would say, look at it that way instead of the one that you're going to get in the picture. So, yeah, I got a few cuttings off of that plant. They were very expensive cuttings. So, that was my sad story. Um,
Mm.
yeah. And there really wasn't a reason for it. I mean, it was shipped in a good time of year. The packaging looked okay, but I don't think the plant was like taken care of before it was shipped.
Super healthy beforehand.
Yeah, she was a little dry.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, but importing can be a way to reach out and to find opportunities, make connections. If you have the means to go visit nurseries in countries that grow Hoya plants, please go for us. And hopefully one day I hope to make a trip. My husband has family in the Philippines and I would love to go there. Like, that is on the short list of places.
Oh,
If
that'd be
you could
super
go,
cool.
where would you go? Putting
Is
you on the
that's a good
spot.
question. Probably like Indonesia. I feel like
Ooh,
the climate and stuff is just my vibe too. I just feel like that would be a beautiful area to see, and the plants are good.
I
Like,
love it. Oh,
Philippines wouldn't be bad either. And I mean, I do love Thai food, so Thailand would also be amazing.
have you had Filipino food?
Oh yes, yes.
Okay, good. I'm just making sure.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
grew
gosh,
up
it's so
working
good.
with so many Filipino ladies that they would bring in lumpia and all sorts of stuff all the time. Like,
So good. So, a sneak preview for the next episode.
yeah, sun stress, the good, the bad, and the fried.
So fried.
Yeah, sometimes sun stress is sexy, sometimes it's not, you know?
All right.
Can't win them all.
And some people are anti sun stress. So, if this is a triggering topic for you, just stick with us. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be one of my favorite topics because I have some stories to tell.
Yeah, I love some sun stress.
You
But
do?
you've gotta find that sweet spot though.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's part of, I don't wanna say the joy, because there's frustration involved when you don't realize that you've gone past that perfect point, and then you start to see the not so perfect splotching in certain different characteristics once you've gone too far. So,
Hmm.
it's kinda like a fun little science experiment.
It is. And there's opinions on it. And we want to hear your opinions on sun stressing. I know there are strong opinions out there. I think any opinion is welcome as long as it's nice and kind. But we want to we
No
want to
judgment
welcome no judging, as you said, no judging. I love it.
here.
100%. So, we are so grateful for you all being here, and I just wanna extend gratitude, take a moment and extend
Do
gratitude
you
for the
hear her?
fact. What?
Do you hear her?
Yes? Is
Yeah,
she wanting us to mention her in the podcast?
she was just going to town outside.
Okay.
Just like, "Girl, simmer down."
It's it's she's got, like, a classical music sound to her meowing. It's so funny.
Like, what?
She's a full-on symphony in a cat.
She is.
She is.
And then
Okay.
you pick her up and she just shuts up. No sound.
No. So, I'm grateful for her adding some soundtrack music to this podcast that maybe we can't hear. Maybe just Michael and I can hear, and I just love it. It makes life so happy when we have our furry friends. I am also grateful for the fact that while we are recording this podcast in my very fancy closet setup, my husband is drilling our sink, and you can't hear it because we have this magical closet within a room with a bathroom inside. So there's multiple doors between that and this. He actually had me make sure that I couldn't hear him drilling. So that was
What a
quite
thoughtful,
exciting.
thoughtful guy.
He's so thoughtful. Grateful for thoughtful partners and husbands. And what about you, Michael?
Oh, I haven't even really thought about anything today. Well, I am grateful that it is no longer snowing. It was trying to snow earlier, just before we started recording, and I'm like, absolutely not. This is March. Like, get it together, Mother Nature. Simmer down. Like, not a chance. Um,
Good job.
not and she listened. Uh, she may have picked up because I'm not watching her now, but I guess we'll see. Uh, what else? I am goodness. Well, I was really thankful for this glass of wine I had before we started because it loosened me up a bit.
What kind were you
And
drinking?
ooh, this is a 19 Crimes. This was the Snoop Dogg one. I want to say it's called Smooth Cali Red.
Hmm.
It's it's good. I haven't been able to find my preferred one in a while. I have to go out of town for it, so I
Mm.
picked this one up instead. And it's good. It's good. Okay, simmer down out there, sister. Simmer down. And I am thankful for ooh, getting to do this with you.
Aw.
I'm like, I don't know if there's another person that we would bounce off each other as well as we do. So, yeah, thank you for that.
You're gonna make me tear up. Not allowed. We're shutting that down. I'm so grateful for you.
Right.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. And for all of us listeners out there, I'm hiding behind a massive pop filter, so he can only see like a third of my face. So I could be sobbing, and he wouldn't even know right now. Here, you can see my face.
No, she moves her face just right, and it's totally covered. It's like I'm talking to a hole.
I can't stop laughing. This is an absolute joy, and thank you so much for being here to talk and just bounce ideas back forth, just like you said, and not have it be a structured, super prepared deal. If you're looking for that, that's great. But we like to keep it casual because we want to keep it real. I think a lot of times when we start a hobby or we're in a hobby and we want to learn more, we can get, and at least I'm talking about myself, we can get in a rabbit hole of needing to be perfect, having to do things the perfect way. And
Mhm.
so it's all about just keeping things light, casual, real. And I love
Oh,
that.
100%. Yeah. You have to know
Yeah.
that there's more than one way to do something. And
Hmm.
just because somebody else does it a certain way, that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So,
I thought of putting a joke in and I didn't have anything because that was just so genuine. I'm like, dang, I can't be silly.
there's where you put your trumpet sound.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We are the Hoya Underground. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Emily.
And I'm Michael, and we are so thankful that you are on this ride with us. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll try anything.
yeah.
Might not be the best idea, but I'll try it.
That's going to be our intro.
That could be, yeah.